Hello, everybody. It's 7 o'clock. It's Friday night. We're back. It is the Long Run podcast and live stream on YouTube and Facebook. Hopefully, if Storm Eunice didn't throw a dagger in the works there with that one, but hopefully, fingers crossed, you can hear us and you'll see us. Another hour or so of your usual running chat and banter. And this week we are joined by a very special guest, Mr. Richard Fletcher. Lovely to see you, mate. Thanks for coming.
No problem. Thanks for the invite. I'm looking forward to this. Been watching it obviously for a while and seeing how it all performs, and then obviously to be asked to come along, it's great. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Less of the first name term, though, please.
Oh really? Oh, only your mother calls you Richard.
I feel like my mum's chasing me.
Well, you better get plugging in there, mate, and do a bit of training, and then she won't be out to get you, will she? So that'll be the case. And as usual, the rest of the gang are here. Mr. Ford, how you doing?
Full house tonight, bruv. Full house.
Yeah, cool. It's like the world's worst boy band reunion, isn't it?
I think it's a beautiful thing. I think the only problem is if we start singing, but we better.
Yeah, we ain't going to do that.
Before we start, big shout out, Manscaped. Oh, hands up. Let us know in the chat if you've smashed the life out of what. Put the up, Tobe. What's the code? 20% off, FORDY, free shipping, or whatever it is. Manscaped. Sort your bits out, boys. But we'll come on to that later in it. But just
we'll just give them a quick shout before we delve in. Alan's here. Are you all right, mate? How you doing?
Yeah, not bad. You might hear
you didn't bring your megaphone that they gave you for
I had to hand that back.
At the winter run on Sunday.
Good. Did you see the video with him with it? And the best one was Jonathan before, because I heard Jonathan before I saw him, because he had one as well. And it's between the two of them, they're making a right old racket. It's quality.
Now you know what everyone feels like with you. Hear you before you see you.
It's not to be rude. Actually, Kieran said that. Big shout out, Kieran. He said he heard me before he saw me at the finish line. But it was quality. We've definitely got the loudest and proudest volunteers. Whenever we got volley duty, and mad love to all the volunteers for all the events we do. But it was great, especially on the start line. Those girls that were dressed up, and boys as well, but out there in the snowmen. I think they were snowmen or whatever they were, outfits. They were so good. And they were dancing away at the start. It was quality. So mad love to all the volunteers.
This was the winter run taking place in central London last Sunday, which turned into a proper old school 40 reunion after 2 years. We had
40 runs takeover,
massive turnout, made a lot of noise.
Yeah,
had a great time. It was great to see everybody.
Even the organisers, I was chatting with them, and they said how nice it was to see everybody from 40 runs volunteering and out on course. And my contact there said, she was trying to say, hello to as many of them as possible, which was kind of nice. So even, when the organiser and that lot who are busy on the day are getting involved in the 40 runs love, it was true. And what Chris, and big shout out Chris, I saw him on the start line. It raised over £500,000 for Cancer Research UK, that event. So that's incredible. 1 in 2 people are going to get cancer. Just leave that there. And they raised over £500,000. So that's incredible. So good job for them in terms of a great event. And also to be back, running around streets of London and having some fun and doing what we do best, which is, as you say, making a lot of noise.
How you stood on the sidelines though, mate? Because it was touch and go at one point that you might run. Did you
get
a FOMO going on?
It was. I took the advice from, as I said, from Al about this one. It was definitely the right after because I saw the doc this week, and I definitely did the right thing by not doing it. But it was tough. But I was lucky because like Chris was there as well, and Ben who won the race. Big shout out to Ben. So it was nice to catch up with them before they ran, and obviously more important than anything else, selfishly, was to be able to chat to all our volleys and see the guys out on course. I missed so many people because I was all over the place, because I was having to film like as a chore, but put the video together and stuff like that, then get it edited. But straight up, I was exhausted because still coming back from recovery. And I've still got, I saw the doc, he still said for the next 3 weeks, I'm going to feel pretty pony.
Yeah.
It just wiped me out. I got back and I was like that. I was horizontal. So, but it was major FOMO, but it was a really nice, lovely moment when I saw like Fletch and that big group of everybody coming through, all like, you know, all dressed up, all together, having fun. Honestly, it set me back, because it reminds me how important what we do at FORDY Runs in bringing every sort of runner together, but doing it in our way and having fun and being part of that unique family. No matter what your ability, where your background, wherever you come from, or wherever you are in the country, in the world, but just coming together and having fun. It really, honestly, it really touched me when I saw everybody. I went mental.
You were screaming and shouting.
I lost it. I went absolutely. I mean, I'm trying to protect what's going on up here, but I just lost it. It was so good. And at the same point, Toby's running the other way behind me, and it was crazy. But it was just, it really just brings it all back. You know, why we set FORDY Runs up in the first place, and what it's all about. You know, your volunteers, your people out there together running, no matter what pace, and just having fun and being part of it. And then obviously everybody got together afterwards, which was just amazing to see. And you know, if you wanted to get involved in that, was able to do that, bringing people together as well, like that. It was just, again, it's just, I think Fletch, you might have posted about it. It's just bringing it back to what we're almost famous for pre-COVID. It was just great. It really was.
It was. I mean, like for me, you touched on it then, going back to originality, and for me, it felt like it had gone back to that Olympic Park half marathon we did, that which was a real first big one, where all the big hashtags come out of "Where's Billy" and "Stand Up Sue" and all of that. You remember them, yeah? And it was just like that, and it gave everybody a good old buzz, and to see Toby come streaming past with this, like, his camera raised up high and everyone just jumping and on it. And the next thing you know, you get this bellow of this chap called FORDY screaming and shouting at
it. And all the organisers were going, who's this geezer? Because I was standing on, you wouldn't have seen Fletch, but I was standing on the course, right? And the security were going, because I was filming and stuff. I think they must have just thought, he's like part of it. I was there, on media duty, but it was like, who the hell is that geezer? It was so good. The pink hat. But it was just anybody who was there who's like, maybe they're not part of the Facebook group and they're on YouTube, because so many people, when I was just standing there filming and stuff, were saying hello FORDY and things like that. So again, big shout out to everybody who said hello. But there you go. So that was good. And I've just looked, we've got because we've got stuff coming in through YouTube. If you've got questions and stuff tonight or input, we're talking about half marathon, the half marathon distance, and running a faster half marathon. We've got Fletch on, obviously, because we wanted him on, but also to talk about half marathons later. So if you've got anything relating to half marathon distance in terms of tips, how to get faster over the half marathon distance, or you've got any questions about anything running related, stick it. If you're listening back on the pod, Wilco, what's the email address?
longrunshow@gmail.com.
Yeah, and thank you very much. We've had a couple of emails in, but there was one this week that was like an essay, and it was amazing. And we've got
from Claire.
And we've got to go through it. We're going to give you a proper answer. So we won't get to that this week because we've got Fletch on, but we will promise I will come back to you on that one, because it was quite a good email. So we will come on to that one.
Yeah, it was quite injury related, wasn't it? So it's going to take, we're going to have to get the old encyclopedia out and have a bit of a dig round to try and get you a good answer for that, Claire. But thanks ever so much for dropping us an email on that. It was great. So yeah, like Chris says, it's your show as much as it is ours. If you can drop us a line with any questions that you've got, then we can use you for the content, and then we don't have to do any hard work.
We don't have to do
nothing.
We love it.
If you just send what the questions do, we can just sit back and away we go. So that'll be absolutely great. Now, Toby's disappeared. I was going to ask him about.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's legged it. He's upset everybody on my YouTube channel today. Did you realise? Al, did I tell you this? He's upset everybody. So if you've not seen it, we put a video out today about running watches, yeah, and I think people thought that we was actually like doing a proper test, and we don't really do anything properly on the channel. It's more just like mucking about. And the wonderful people at Garmin, they've given me like 3 more watches to review. And if you haven't seen the 5K video, which again, we didn't do it properly. We know we didn't do it properly. Stop commenting that we haven't done it properly, because we know we didn't do it properly. But they take it very seriously. Anyway, we got some more watches come through from Garmin. So I said to Toe, all these Garmin watches, we keep getting them all wrong. So why don't we take them to the Winter 10K, give you as many watches as we can, and see what the difference is. That's all it was, right? Now, Toby's managed to upset a couple of people today. So you know who you are, because you've been sending, comments that maybe a little bit angry type and emotionally type, which I understand because you want it done properly. So, Toby, do you want to apologise now to all those people and say that you are going to do this properly down the line? Do you want to apologise?
I did do it properly.
That's it. Don't get him started. But all we did was we just wanted to see how different it was wearing different watches, right? So we started them pretty much, bless him. He had 6 watches, I think, on his. Was it 6, Toby, in the end?
Yeah, I got some interesting looks.
He had 6 watches to start, right? Him and Si. And they went out, they ran it, and they stopped it, and then they worked it out, right? And then they just saw, out of interest, what the differences are. Because it is, I don't know about you, but it is weird when you, like, obviously I'm lucky I run with Tobe a lot, that you get different like data. Like we did Epping Forest, and the 3 of us, like Si was out over a mile compared to our watches, and we ran the same route. So we just wanted to see what it was all about. But again, please don't take that video that seriously. I mean, but so Toby generally does apologize. He's got 3 boxes of matchmakers ready to send you. They might be out of date, but he has
2.5.
2.5, sorry. Boxes
2 by 8 o'clock.
Yeah. So just as if you send an email into Long Run Show, you're probably not listening because you hate everything we do at 40 Runs, but you still wanted a comment. But just send us an email, and Tobe will send them out to you with an apology. So big love out
personally.
to you.
Personally written apology.
Yeah, sorry on behalf of Tobe. Oh, and
it was
actually,
all right, Tobe, was it? With our watches,
yeah,
you didn't get too confused.
Oh, well, the problem was I wasn't sure what one to track my run on, so I kept on looking at them on the way round, thinking, I don't know where I'm at.
You actually looked like Mr. T when you was running around. You had all those bling on his arms.
The looks, but Fletch, we tested it at Chelmsford Park Run the day before. The looks he was getting, because people taking it, but rightfully so, seriously, whatever. I've got no problem with that, right? If you're taking it, good luck to you. But he was getting some really funny looks about what's he going on? What's he doing on there? But Tobe, have you shared the story about what happened?
I just got to go again 1 minute. What?
No. So
well, when we took the watches
we'll
off,
go out. And Flex, you don't know this story, right?
Well.
No, Toby, you want to disappear? You're going to stick around and try and stick up for yourself. Now, I'm not hammering Toby. It's got nothing to do with it. So this is a story about how to be sensible when you finish your run. So Toby, giving it his all. He'd run 10K with Si, and he was being interviewed at the time. And we went down on the way back. They still had all the fencing out, all the stuff. So he was filming the video. We got to a point and we realised we was actually trapped in. We walked into a circle thing, so we couldn't get out of it. As we were walking along, Si and I was talking to Si. There was a young lady. I reckon she was, I don't know, got to be what, Tobe, 25, 20. You probably paid more attention than me. I
didn't look.
Don't tell lies. And we were walking up, and Tobe realised that the only way was to get over the barriers. Now, most of us probably would have done this differently, but because I think there was young ladies around, Tobe thought that he was going to try and impress her. So I was jumping over barriers all day, right? And the volunteers were amazing because they were taking the camera, helping me over. But Tobe decided that he was going to do, like when you were at school and you had those like horse things or whatever they call, and you'd sit on it and jump over it to kind of look like dashing. Well, Tobe did that and then fell so hard on the floor, but wait for the kicker. We realised that there was a young homeless man behind him who then absolutely dug him out in front of this guy. He goes, "Oh, that must have hurt. Oh, did you see him?" And made Tobe feel about that big, because then Si lifted the barrier and let the young lady through, and she just walked off and didn't even take one look at him. And he's trying to style it out. He's trying to style it out by now. And the I don't like to use the word, but the tramp, the homeless man, right, was basically wetting himself. And you know, when they do the Meals on Wheels that night, bless them, the only thing they were going to be talking about was this idiot trying to impress this girl jumping over the barrier.
She could have been the one as well.
She could have been it, Toe, but if she'd have known, Toe, that you had 5 watches on.
One
Yeah,
word.
And that was the problem. I was out of balance. I had 5 watches
It was so funny. Honestly, I think me and Si, we generally, but it was when the champ went, he went, "God, that's got to hurt." Like, but we didn't even know he was there, and absolutely nailed him. And then Si lifted it up, and she walked through. The worst bit is I didn't have the camera on, because if I had the camera on,
you were more worried about trying to see if you could get the camera on than if I was all right.
So, right, should we actually talk about some running?
No,
No, I've got. Yeah, go on. No, I was
go
just
on.
going to say, I tell you what, I've had a brilliant idea. As always, firstly, thanks very much for all your questions, and we will get to those. But there was something else. We've got to play the Manscaped advert. Should we do that now? Share them, give them some love, and then we can crack on with actually talking about some running. What do we think, boys?
Yeah, that sounds good to me, mate.
Right, Toe, roll the advert and watch this advert, and then we'll come back. It's about 20 seconds long.
One man every hour, every day is diagnosed with testicular cancer. We want to help raise awareness about the ball-busting disease, which is the most common form of cancer among men ages 15 to 35. For this reason, we are happy to promote Manscaped products on the Long Run podcast, as they have teamed up with Testicular Cancer Society to educate and entertain while spreading a very important message about early detection and self-screening to protect yourself against men's health issues and cancer risk. Me and the boys were lucky enough to be sent a Performance Package 4 each, which is everything a man needs. To get 20% off and free shipping, head over to manscaped.com and use promo code FORDY on checkout.
Thanks, Will. That's an important message again about the testicular cancer, boys.
Very much so. Yeah, we're very on board with that.
Check yourself out.
Big time. Go for it. Use the code I did last week.
There we go.
Brilliant.
In the pudding.
Absolutely brilliant.
As endorsed by Fletch.
Yeah, you can't get a bigger endorsement.
You can't.
Now we're going to talk about half marathons, but before that, I've got my own question because I've made a bit of a faux pas this week.
Wow.
I'm now 2 weeks into my training plan for Edinburgh, and we're all charged. But having looked on mine, I thought, well, I'll see how it's, what's panning out for the next few weeks. Having started what I thought was a 16-week marathon plan, turns out it's 18 weeks.
Wow,
so
Wilco,
I've done my maths wrong.
Well, you say that, right? And if you watch the Chelmsford Park Run video, I talk about you because I was going on your. But I spoke to admin this week. If anybody doesn't know admin, that's Sabrina. And she actually contradicts you and says that, no, you were right in the first place. So can anybody help us in the comments? How long is it to Edinburgh? Because Sabrina reckons it's now, we're on week 15, to go. And you're telling me it's because...
last week was week 16 to go. It was the first day was the 7th of February.
Well, between you both got the different opinions because she...
But I'm thinking, well, I mean, obviously, it's a little bit embarrassing that I can't count. And
there is that.
But I was interested to see what, obviously I've got to get rid of 2 weeks. So which one should I do?
Well, are you sure you've got to get rid of 2 weeks? Because I'm not sure you got your dates right.
I have.
Admin reckons you haven't.
Yes. Yeah.
You're getting hammered in the comments, Will.
You haven't got your dates right. That's the sort of thing they say, when they don't know who's the father of someone's baby on EastEnders or something, do they?
But apparently you've got 14 weeks on Monday. Hayden knows everything. He's my brother. He knows everything.
Yeah, that's right.
So what are you?
I'm on an 18-week plan. That's what I'm saying.
Why are you
on 18 weeks? I've done 2. I've got 14 to go.
I'll speak to our easy authority.
That's 16 weeks then, not 18.
Exactly. It's an 18-week plan.
Boys, out of the 5 of us, hands up if you're confused. On the pod, we've all put our hands up. Right, so Al, you help him out because I've lost the plot.
Sabrina's right. It's got 14 weeks left.
Yeah, I've done 2.
You've got a good base. So you can skip weeks 3 and 4. Go straight to week 5. That's going to help.
Well, what I did think I was going to do, there's a bit of a low week this next week when the long run's only 6 miles. And then there's another one sort of like when you do a half marathon a little bit further down the line, but I'm doing a half marathon in a few weeks anyway. So I thought I might knock them two on the head.
Don't
You'll be
overcomplicate,
fine.
bro.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, you listen to Al, honestly.
So where'd you get it from there, though, Wilco? Where'd you get the plan from?
It's a Hal Higdon one.
All right. So
Off a peg.
if you'd got a 40 plan, you would have been on track, yeah?
Yeah, but well, I bought a 40
like
plan
that,
last
Flex.
time
You
and
can
then
come
it
back.
disappeared
come
off
back.
my phone after about 3 weeks.
I'll get this stuff.
And I was going to go, and I thought, well, I'll use the Edinburgh training plan that I used last time.
Yeah.
And do you know what they did? They said, yeah, you can. It'll cost you £10.
Oh, it's a bit strong. Oh, by the way, friend of the show, Chris from Here We Are Running.
Oh, yeah.
I rewatched his Edinburgh marathon vlog. All right, it went completely up the Swanee for him. But anybody doing Edinburgh, recommend you watch that. It's good. I watched that. So if you're listening on your long run, thanks a lot, bruv. I watched that. And
Chris's stuff's always good. And I said to him when he came on a couple of weeks ago, it's warts and all stuff. It's not glossy. You know, if it goes there,
he had a nightmare. Bless him, he had a nightmare.
Mate, he's a legend. On Ragnar, he was an absolute legend.
Machine.
I had him in my van and he was brilliant.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Al, do you want to knock a couple of questions out before we get into half marathon? Because we've not actually, I suppose we have talked a little bit about running. Be fair, that's better. That's good for us this week. We still haven't spoke about Toby and eating this week, but we can do that at the end of the show when everyone's switched off. Yeah, Toby, what? Al, questions?
Warm up with a couple of questions then.
Yeah.
Okay. Mark Langhorn, one of our Facebook viewers, listeners, signed up for a marathon. Wants to know up to 20 miles or further as part of his training plan. What would you recommend?
There's no evidence that I've seen going through 20 miles adds any value in terms of physical. Mentally, maybe, it's your choice. But I would think about the recovery process around that. Personally, I think you're better off doing 20-mile run and putting a decent chunk of it at goal pacing. You'll get much more out of that than you would going through 20 miles. I've never seen anything data-wise, and I'm happy to be proved wrong. I'm sure somebody knows more than me. But I've never seen anything go through that. The plans I write never go through 20 miles. I'm not going through 20 miles. Yes, I'm doing 3 or 4 of those 20-mile runs, but that's just me, and that's what works for me. So it's, again, it all goes back to individual, but as a coach, I don't put in my plans anybody through 20 miles unless they tell me otherwise, that it's worked for them in the past. Al, would you disagree, agree? Mind you, it's hard for you because you do the
as I say, if it helps, Mark, I tend to follow a regime called the Hansen plan, and on that plan, the longest run is 16, but it is a different approach. It has you running more often, but at lower intensity, and those 16 miles will come on the back of possibly a 10 mile the day before and an 8 mile the day before that. So by the time you get to your 16 miles, you are on tired legs. So you're replicating that feeling of being knackered. So as Chris says, there's no need to go out for 26 full miles. Once you're on your feet for 3 hours, it's about kind of learning to cope with how your body, is talking to you on the day. And then it's about getting the pace right, getting the fueling right, getting your recovery right.
Yeah, we ran for 4 hours. I said the other week, didn't we? Me and Toby ran for 4 hours before my surgery. Time on feet, 4 hours. So, Toby's looking to do 3:25 in Edinburgh because it's downhill the first section for 5 miles. So actually probably 3:15 really. So, you've got to think about it. So we were going over what we were doing. So it depends how you look at it. But yeah, I don't think there is any others out before.
We've got a request to get some comments back on Saucony Trails, Peregrine 12s. Do they fit true to size? We've got a user looking for something that's cushioned, suitable for an upcoming ultra.
I've not tried them. Saucony are murder in terms of getting hold of the shoes. I've not tried. I know they're new out and all that sort of stuff. I'm actually waiting for, talking about 50-mile ultras again. That's not my bag, right? Okay, so that's not me. But the one I'm looking for is the Speedgoat 5. Obviously, we've got Speedgoat in the corner himself, but Speedgoat 5. There's an interesting video from Running Warehouse. check out Connor's video from Running Warehouse where he's got Jamie on there and he's got the guy, I can never remember his name, he's an ultra runner, and they're talking about the Speed Goat. That might be worth checking out. Also, the new Saucony one, not the Saucony one, the Hoka one, the Tecton X or whatever, it's got a plate in it. But in terms of Saucony, fit-wise, Saucony for me are always true to size. But so I've not tried the Peregrine, whatever it is, 12. But so that actually, as always, doesn't really help. And yeah, so I apologise.
Okay,
Right.
and then one more before we go into the
more.
discussion. Jonathan Winter, thanks for your question, mate. He's struggling with his fueling for his marathon training. What's the best way to figure out what is the best fueling? In particular, what kind of gels are good?
Struggling with fueling right for marathon training. Right, you should be looking, obviously, fuel pre-run. Usually, depends if you're running fasted. I don't know, what you do and what you don't do in terms of what suits you. But ideally, you look at fueling after about 45 to 60 minutes, depending on your effort levels. I've said it before on this podcast. I fuel differently depending on what I'm doing. So if I'm doing a goal pace or elements of goal pace run through the longer run, so it's going to end up being a medium effort, I will fuel earlier. We tried it the other day, didn't we, Toe? We switched it out a bit. We went a little bit, was it later or earlier? I can't remember what we did, but we switched up our fueling. We've been playing around in terms of our fueling to get it right for us on race day, because it can make a huge difference if you get it right. But as a rule of thumb, you're looking really to take something on within 45 to 60 minutes. After 60 minutes, you start, depleting stuff that you don't really want to go into. So make sure you're topping up before you get to that point. So try that. I put an alarm on my watch, reminds me. And what type of fueling, it's all dependent on yourself. Gel's a convenient way of doing it. Make sure you're getting one that's got the right calorific amount in it, because some of these have got less than others. Some are high in sugar. Some are, natural, products. It depends. It all depends on you, what you can tolerate in your stomach. So try it out on shorter runs and see how that works through. But you don't have to go down that route. There's plenty of other alternatives out there. We've had people talking about Tailwind on the channel. There's other ways to fuel those runs naturally and stuff like that. So that's what I would do. Actually, what was we doing? How did we change it? Can you remember?
I think we just increased it a bit because we were running lower intensity, but we wanted to still use the fueling because to effectively emulate put our bodies through it, so that bodies are getting used to the fuel, even though we don't need as much, and we're still using it, just putting maybe an extra mile on what we'd normally have to fuel that. So
yeah, that's what. And we was using the Kendall mint gels, not sponsored. They sent me some, been using them up, but they're great. What's nice about them is it tastes like you've brushed your teeth for about 2 minutes afterwards. You get, if it's really windy, like we'll be tomorrow, you get sort of minty fresh in your mouth. There you go, I'll leave that with you.
I tried several through my marathon training, and that was just like you're just saying there. Excuse me, just to get your stomach right and get used to, find something that's good for you and you react to yourself, because there's nothing worse than taking something on that's not going to sort of work for you. And I mean, I've just seen that someone just kept mentioning there, just a product that I used to take, and then for some other reason it really upset me. And then
which one was that, Fletch?
That was the SIS.
Yeah.
And I've used that for years through, obviously, from my rugby career and stuff like that. But and then I think it was yourself that brought in the active fruit and suggested that. And that's when I switched. And I'm a big advocate of, I hate ginger. I really hate it, but I'm absolutely addicted to the stuff now. And I swear by it, because it really works well for my stomach.
Yeah.
What I'd also suggest as well is sort of like, as a layman who'd done one marathon, I changed to the high five ones gels, mainly because they were the ones that were being dished out at the races that I was doing. They were doing them at the Great North Run and at the Yorkshire Marathon. So if they're going to be available on the day, it's what I would definitely suggest giving them a go. And if you don't get on with them, you don't get on with them. But that could give you a bit of extra confidence as well.
The other thing I like as well with Active Root, and I'm saying it, but they do that nice one pouch, so you make it up, and you've got so you haven't got to worry about carrying loads of gels in your belt or tucked in everywhere. They do it in one, and you make it up yourself. And I think the maximum you're getting is about 3 gels, which you were saying there, Chris quite rightly, sort of like every sort of like 45 to hour time scope. You know, if you're doing a marathon, you're going to need about 3 gels or so, maybe 4. You've got that in once. You've only got to worry about carrying 1 gel.
Yeah, no, big shout out to Ian Wilson, friend of the show, who eats pork pies. And actually, we've not mentioned it at the front end because we're batting through this because we've got a lot to get through tonight. But we've got the London Marathon ballot. So good luck to everybody for next week.
Yeah.
Right, just put that out there now. And like, if you've not listened to last week's show, it's out on the podcast on, like Wilco says, on all your favourite platforms, all that to it. But it's all out there. Go and listen to it because it's got some advice on what to do if you don't get a place and what to do if you do get a place. Alan had some
Be nice if you don't get a place, and be nice if you do.
Yeah, so don't, because Ian upset everybody last week. We got so many, like millions of emails because Wilco swearing, ranting and raving about all these people on social media when they don't get a place. He used naughty words that he's since been sent in detention for.
I'm on a yellow card.
He's on a yellow card. So don't be what Wilco called you last week.
Don't be one of them.
Don't be one of them. And it is what it is. But listen to last week's episode. It's quite a good one, if I do say so myself, mainly because I'm back. Who is it?
Anyway, we're going to talk about half marathons or what?
Yeah, we might as well. We've got nothing else to talk about.
Well, yeah, we wanted to, Chris and Alan, we wanted to discuss sort of like, because it's something that lots of people are, a target of theirs is to run a decent, quick, what they would regard as a quick half marathon and have a successful half marathon. Let's put it that way. And that's all been married really with Fletch coming on, because he has set himself a big target for the London Landmarks, which is beginning of April, 5 weeks.
Yeah,
Don't ask me how many weeks things are, because obviously I've got form for this and I don't really know. But so we wanted to talk about Fletch's quest to get a sub 2 at the Landmarks, and pick Chris's and Tobes and Alan's brains as to what he can do with 5 or 6 weeks to go to push on through that thing. So, Fletch, you're going for a sub 2. What's your PB at the moment, mate? What have you done?
I'm 2:08 for Landmarks. So I pushed for it there was a big push for the big half. That was going to be the one. So I planned that, but I just overthought things, and I didn't really think things through regarding heat, hydration, and food and real prep beforehand. And then obviously the inevitable happened, and it happened in the tunnel. If I'm honest, it was just it's not. Which
is pretty early on. That's in the first couple of miles, isn't it?
It was up all the way to, I mean, Stu was pacing me with it, and it was really good with Chloe and that. So I had a great team around me to do it. And we just hit the tunnel and I just lost it because it was just so intense. So that put that by. And then I just went out and enjoyed my runs more. And then obviously Landmarks came up. And again, but my secret was I didn't go out and massively publicize what I was going to be doing, and I just went out and enjoyed the run. And it tied in with, I think, actually after one of the shows and speaking to Chris, I think I did them in the Saucony Speeds, and they made a big difference for me as well. And I ended up doing 2:08. Now I did 2:08 for half a marathon, and I felt really drained at the end. So I know it's achievable. So for myself, what I've done is I'm going to go for it. A few people commented I am looking good. I've shedded quite a bit of timber. I had a good chat with Chris, and I thoroughly recommend anybody if you need good advice, please speak to Chris or Alan or whatever, because I had a good chat with Chris about it. And the advice he gave me was great, and I took it away and I did what I wanted to do. Got myself a personal trainer as such. And my whole nutrition, and now, for me, it's worked. It's shed the weight. So now I've got to push on. So for me to ask now, it's I've got my plan and I'm doing my runs, but now I've got to work on. So, you guys can help me of how do I now build up those fast runs? I'm doing my interval sessions, which I love. And I swear by the interval sessions that I do. Two questions. One is how do I pick up that pace and get it going so I've got that lung capacity and I've got that energy in me to do a sub 2? And secondly is, what's your view on the interval sessions that I do on a treadmill? Because I'm able to maintain that faster pace. And I feel that if I was to do it outside, when you come to do that last set of intervals, you tend to maybe back off a little bit on your pace, you know, where with a treadmill, I know it's the people call it all sorts of names. You've got to keep it at that pace because you're going to set it at that speed and you've got to go for it, you know, otherwise you're going to go flying off the back or whatever. So those are the two key things for me.
I mean, firstly, I think the important thing is that you can't force fitness, right? And you if you train at a much sort of faster pace than your body is ready for, you lose the purpose of those workouts, and you risk overtraining, you risk injury, right? And actually, it has a negative effect. So you never want to be running faster than you're ready for, right? That's a classic example of overtraining, that you're running those too fast. You've got to do the work. You've got to build the aerobic base. You've got to build the endurance through your legs. Then you want to be looking really at increasing, I would say, the duration of those medium efforts. So you're building the faster pace into those runs over a longer period of time. That is what will build that stamina up, but holding and maintaining that sort of race pace, right? You need to be doing medium efforts, like, you know, lactate threshold runs, tempo runs. Now you can do them different ways. You can start off easy, stick a load of it in the middle, and then back out of it. You can mix them up different ways. But the more work you do in that lactate threshold area, where it's a hard but maintainable pace, that is where it will ultimately build that whole stamina, strength, and mental capacity to hold that. Because it's really hard if you go out and do 3 miles tempo, to then start adding on a mile to that, it can be draining. But if you can time the pacing absolutely right, and what you're talking about is you're right, and come on to intervals. But knowing what that interval pace is, what that lactate threshold pace is, it's people struggle with it because, am I running too fast, too slow? It's that point in which, and I always say to my runners, that you can't hold a conversation. You could say yeah, no, but you are breathing heavily. You couldn't have a phone conversation. But if I said to you, let's go and do this another kilometre, push on, you could dig in and get it done. But the recovery is also relatively quick, because it's from those runs. The reason we focus on those runs, if you're looking to pick up pace, is that recovery period. Because if you look at like 1,500 meters or 5,000 meter runners, they do a lot of them because they're able to do double sessions of those, because the recovery period's quicker, because you're not stressing your body like you would with a high effort session or with a long run. So you're really in a sweet spot in terms of building pace. So that will help. But you also then need to be doing a lot of, not a lot, but a concentrated quality effort at that sort of 5K pace, the 5K, 10K pace. Because again, that's putting a real pace through your legs, but at real higher turnover, that real high stress level, that real higher effort. So you're building on 3 fronts. You're building your endurance through your long runs, and I would put your long runs, and you know, someone who's done a marathon, Fletcher, I would go through 30 miles on a training plan for a half. I would go possibly to 16 miles, and I would do 13 miles, but I would probably stick 3 or 4 of those miles at goal pace in there. So whatever your target pace. So for you, that's what, 9:09, isn't it? Something like that, or 5:40 per kilometre. So you should be working your goal pace runs at that, or just slightly below actually. But you also want to be working at that real high effort, but like over a short period of time. So you're looking at quality sessions. So even if the session's 30 minutes, do a decent warm up, engage all your muscles and get switched on. But then really do a really hardcore, even 20-minute, where you really commit to it. And like, I make you laugh where, you know, with the guys at the, you know, like death pace, like throwing up pace. You can't do any more of it because you're going to die pace. So 100% committed to that. Don't get injured. But if you do a decent warm up and you engage your muscles properly, but build up into the session where you say you fade at the end, what you want to do is actually build up. So your final one is you leave everything out there, and then you recover with your cool down. So just keep pushing the envelope, pushing it right. Touch that brick wall and push through it. And that, if you attack it that way, instead of going hard at it from the start, I'm still asking you to go hard, but just keep asking the question all the way through the session. And then what you'll do is you'll find that where that higher pace is, or that higher effort, will actually increase slowly because of all the other work you're doing as well. And it will just open up that pace, and you'll be able to maintain it for longer on those longer runs because you're doing so much of it all the way down. But I would really recommend focusing on quality over quantity, but don't force the pace. The pace will come naturally. If you do the work over your 12-week plan, the pace will come naturally because that endurance, that stamina will build, and the confidence up here. Because it's always in it. You're thinking, I can't hold this. How the hell am I? It's like me and Toad. How the hell are we going to run at this pace for 26 miles? But we ran to 20 miles in London at that pace, right? And, you know, I was about, you know, a week later, the doctor said I shouldn't have done that, but I was still able to do it because I trained for it. And well, you say we missed 3 weeks of training, but we trained for it, and we built that stamina, and we built that aerobic base, and we gave our minds and our bodies the opportunity to perform at that level. And I think that's probably the key for you is, yeah, to extend those longer runs, stick the pace in there, that goal pace, so you know how it's like. Increase your tempo runs, you know, instead of a 3 mile, make it a 4 mile, 5 mile. Yeah. But really concentrate on the quality of the high effort session, whenever that is, whether it be on the treadmill, it don't matter. It's where you are in terms of, you know, your energy systems, what heart rate zones. I know you train hard. Wherever you're at, whatever way you're training, it's making sure that it is a maximum effort. That's the way that I believe that you'll get faster. Al, have you got anything, or
you know, to add to that, Al?
A couple of things just to endorse Chris's views about the lactate threshold running. The reason that's important is because there is a relationship to the work you're doing on the building the aerobic base and the long slow runs. Because in effect, what the lactate threshold runs are teaching your body to do, which is process all that lactic acid that's building up. So, you know, by building the aerobic base, you take in more oxygen. You're able to process oxygen at those higher speeds for longer. And that's what prevents the old lactic acid killing the legs in those last couple of miles. When you get to mile 10, your brain's hurting, your legs are hurting because you've not quite nailed those threshold trains. The other thing, and I know you talked about doing your strength work with your PT, I would translate that into the training plan by doing hills. And I mean going up, not just coming down. So, you know, you've done the work, you've built your glutes, you've done it in the gym. Translate that into running, because it will help fire up those glutes, and that's where you get your power, and that's where you get your momentum from, and that's where your speed ultimately comes from. You know, there's other things you can do around cadence and form, but actually, if you've worked on building those big muscles, then that's where you're generating
and a solid core
speed.
Solid core, holding yourself up, so you are engaging everything.
Yeah.
You know, you are firing up your glutes because you're strong. You know, in your trunk, you are up, and, you know, and everything's moving in the most efficient way. You can never, like, you know, Fletch, you do the work in terms of cross training on the bike and stuff. So, but it's really, really important what Al said in terms of the hills as well. Hills, I mean, we've got Speedgo up in the corner. He drives me nuts, but he murders them, and that's how he gets so fast. Is because he lives up hills, and that's what he does. So, you know, I think if you can mix all that up. I mean, what's your weekly mileage at the moment?
It varies, because obviously I long run Sunday, and I'm starting to build that up now. And then through the week, obviously, I mix it up with a run, which I plan to do is probably 5K, and then obviously a 5 or 6K interval. So I've never really done loads of big miles. I've tried to concentrate on the speed, so I've incorporated sort of like my, you know, the plan I've got is sort of long run Sunday. It's always been on a Sunday, so I'll go out and I'll do the kilometers or the miles there. Then Monday's always like a rest day. Tuesday's a cardio session, as in like the bike, that scenario. Wednesday I'll go and do a run of about 5 or so K. Thursday again I'll do another cardio bike again sort of session, and a bit of weights and stuff. And then Thursday's always intervals day, so I smash out a 5K interval session as such, and then Saturday's rest. But, you know, I walk around the golf course on a Saturday and just relax.
You need up your miles, bro. I don't think you've got enough time on feet. You're never gonna. No, it's not never, because that's the wrong word. You need time on feet. You need to build that endurance in, but you need to have the ability, the miles, to be able to put the work in. 5K is great, but like and I mean, just said it to you, but you need to extend some of that out if you can. You've got the routine now. I spoke about, I think in the video before, it's all about those verticals and going up in your mileage. We're not saying doing 50, 60, 70 miles a week, but if you're looking to really come down in terms of your times, you do need to be putting the miles through your legs as well, because it's a lot of it's up here.
So would you think then? So keep it much the same, but then substitute the Thursday cardio stuff with, okay, it's going to bite me because I'm going to have to go through the wardrobe now and empty out all the I ate ill t-shirts and stuff, and I'm going to have to change all my slogans because the big fella don't do ills, but and then slot that maybe at the end of my road. Those that have seen the videos I have got a nice sort of like probably a nice hill that goes for probably a good kilometre, just under a kilometre. So I can break that down and use just hill sprints.
Mix your training up, bruv. I think you personally, I would concentrate. If you had to do one thing, it would be to concentrate on those lactate threshold runs. That would be, if you're going to chuck one thing away and put something in, it's the lactate threshold. Yes, you hills 100%. If you could, but even if you do them less frequent, but you do more of the lactate stuff, because you want to build that endurance at running at a consistent medium high to high effort for you. And that's where you're going to be doing the bulk. But you do need to increase your weekly miles, but do it super slowly in terms of building it, because what you don't want to do is, like we all do, go out, and you told me off about this week, so I just dropped that back at you. But just go out and build back slowly, because you've been around this rodeo a couple of times, Fletch. So you know the drill. But just don't now go and start smashing out heels, this and this. But you do need, if I was your coach, I would say to you, you do need to increase your mileage so you can put that extra work in to bring those times down.
Yeah. Okay. No, I mean, and it's great, and it's something for me to work to now and go to, and as you said, I mean, the winter run on Sunday, I was going out, but it just got too crammed at the start for me, and it put me off a little bit time wise. But when I finished it, and we still run it, I think 104.5 or something like that, which not. It's a great time, because I was running around with one of the girls that I've got, and Katie was running around there. But when I finished, I could have carried on. Honestly, I think as I was running down the start, I was shouting out, "Who wants to go again?" And I felt like I could turn around and run it again.
Yeah, so do your long runs at that pace, right? Yeah. But then for the last 3 miles, go at whatever you work, 9:09, 5:40 or 5:39. Then do your last 3 miles at that pace. So super easy at the start, like at that pace where you feel like you could go forever. Zone 2, like Tobe did the other day, 4 hours.
Yeah.
But then last 3 miles, go at that goal pace and drop down and work hard. But it's limited, so then your recovery is quicker. So then you'll be able to go again.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Just before we delve into some questions,
we've got a lot, haven't
we? What about mental preparation for it? I mean, we started together on Sunday, and it was clogged. It was pretty hard to get going because it was congested. How are you going to be if you get in that situation again?
Yeah, I think mentally I'm a bit more advanced, because if I'm honest, I was a bit heavier back then. So I know I've shed the weight now, so I feel more comfortable in myself, but I feel more determined. So I've got it there, but I get where you are, and I think I've got to focus on trying to get somewhere near where I can get a clean run at it. And if it means go to the back or whatever, but that did play mentally with me, and I think it plays with everybody in the fact that you've got to go with what you've got on the day is a big mental thing. You can't change it, but for me mentally, I'll be focused on it, and you'll probably if anyone that's going to be at the landmarks, you'll see. And the guys will probably comment as well in relation to the way I was at the big half. I was very withdrawn. I was very within myself, but that's how I control things myself. So I put myself in that zone, and I tend to zone out. Whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know.
Just take the pressure off yourself. I told you that after when you and I'll never forget it, Fletch. I was at the seaside with the girls, and you run me up.
That's it.
And just take the pressure off yourself.
Yeah.
Who gives two hoops? If it's landmarks, great. If it ain't, who
Yeah.
cares? Just take that away. You learned from that. You learned from Big Half. You know you did, and you're coming back at it.
Yeah.
Take that pressure off yourself. Landmarks, we know is busy. If you get into a rhythm and you find that pace, happy days. If you don't, who cares?
And if you do 208, 207, it's going to be great.
That's the thing, and you know, and I'm a big advocate of this, and Chris knows this, and the rest of you know, is running for me is enjoyment. Go out and enjoy it, and I say it to everybody: don't worry about times, don't worry about times. Go and enjoy it. You know, here's me now talking about I wanted to get a sub 2.
I'm going to remind him that on his next live stream.
but this is it. Yeah, don't worry about times. Well, but you know, if you've got goals in yourself, that's fine. But yeah, I will go into it definitely differently mentally for landmarks than I was for Big Half. And Chris hit it just there, and that is I will be more relaxed. You know, I will try not to get too focused in the zone. You know, just be myself, go out, enjoy it. Because I think, you know, the key is I think when I first smashed my 10K PB in the trains or whatever, I didn't even set a time. I just went out and ran in them and I didn't notice the time until I stopped and watched at the end. And I'm like, 57. Where's that come from? Because I went out and enjoyed it. And I think that, you know, Chris said it, go out and enjoy it. So yes, I want to get a sub 2, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But
do it another time, bro.
Give it a bet.
We've given him a bit of a grilling, haven't we? We ought to ask him some.
Well, hang on. I'm going to tell you something funny. I've got I've got on the screen, I've got you guys, and then next to me, I've got the internet or whatever, and it just pops up. It must be listing Manscaped advert. And seriously, it's just come up on there. Manscaped advert. So nice plug. But it's just made me laugh. Sorry. Toad, put the thing up, 20% off coupon.
Yeah, don't forget 20% off Manscaped.
But no, it's just made me laugh. It's just come up because it just shows you that the sods, they listen to everything that you take.
They're there.
Right. So,
there.
I reckon lightning round for Fletch. Just grill him.
Yeah, let's grill it. Let's give him a proper grilling now.
Right, go for a big fella.
Hit it. Go.
Come on.
Welcome to the lightning round, Fletch.
Be gentle with me, mate.
If you're a regular watcher, listener, viewer, you know what the questions are, so you've already got a head start, but we'll go for it anyway. So, quick fire.
Right.
Bucket list race.
Bucket race, Berlin.
Pre-race breakfast.
Sports barista coffee, active fruit, and a pot of porridge.
Cool, sounds good. Favourite distance?
Half marathon.
Long run fueling strategy.
Active fruit, gel mix, all the day. Active fruit.
Okay, cool. Favourite brand of running shoes?
You're going to kill me. I've gone Saucony.
Ketchup or brown sauce?
Brown sauce.
Summer or winter training?
Winter.
Road or trail races?
Road.
One song playlist?
You know it's coming. For everybody out there, Rick Astley, I'm never going to give you up.
Okay, final question. I've been a bit cheeky here. I've got a client that's thinking of upgrading their refuse fleet. So EV or hydrogen?
EV.
Where's the future?
EV.
Okay, cool. Right, so run the titles.
Well done,
can we move? No, you can't answer anything about the shoes. All right. Sorry.
Firstly, right. When you paused, I thought he's not going to say Brooks, is he? Right?
I thought he was going to say Brooks. I'd have laid £100. He was going to say Brooks.
I'd have said done. Right. Drop this mic. I'd have been out of there. Right. And the other one, we need to find somebody whose favourite distance is not half marathon.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of 10 milers.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think Chloe said she was a 10 miler.
Yeah, but Chloe's a machine. I put Chloe on a pedestal. She's a skiathlon world champion. I put Chloe on a pedestal. So you know.
You need to find a marathon person.
For people who don't like half marathons.
Yeah, I'm looking for people who don't like Brooks and don't like half marathons. Come on the show. Email somethingshow.com.
I should have said
would have been great. I thought he was going to say, you know, after all that great advice you gave him on the thing, I thought he was going to say, yeah, I love a pair of Brooks.
Yeah.
Throw it back in your
I
face.
thought he was going to say it. That's what I was going to say, Brooke.
They were my first ever running shoes. I won't lie, they were the first, and I like get
What a
out,
surprise. Yeah, get that out.
get out.
Oh dear. Right, Al.
We've got a few questions to wind up with, have we?
Oh, he's on mute.
I forgot I was on mute.
That's right, mate.
Schoolboy error.
So Lindsay Kay, she's been out doing her Sunday long runs. Obviously pushing it pretty hard because she's coming back absolutely shattered and having to spend the rest of the day watching Netflix. So what advice have we got for her? Other than perhaps make sure you subscribe.
I've got one before you go on that one. Ice bath. That will wake you up.
Oh yeah, Fletcher's ice baths. He loves an ice bath. No, firstly, can you let us know what you're watching on Netflix? Because I've just finished watching The Witcher, so I need something else to watch. Sorry, you're running too fast. Probably your pace is probably wildly out from where you should be running. Take it easy. Easy runs are meant to be easy, people. Watch the video coming out in whenever. When Toby ran for 4 hours, because I made him run in zone 2. He was almost walking, but it just shows you after 4 hours on his feet, generally, Toby, you felt like you ain't done nothing.
We could go again.
Yeah, we could have carried on and done the full 26. So you are probably running too fast. So just take it easy. On those long runs, they need to be easy. Obviously, if you're putting pace in, blah, 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 like we spoke about, it's different. But in general, as a rule of thumb, long runs, nice and steady, nice and easy, that little bit slower. Give me a ring. You know, that's the thing. You should be able to ring somebody, talk to somebody when you're doing it. Toby and I will sit there and chat absolute nonsense for 4 hours. He loves it. But the point is, I'm able to talk as we're going along, and that's the key to it, okay? Just keep it conversational, keep it easy.
Right, lots of love to JBS for his super sticker. Thanks,
oh, yeah,
mate.
thank you, JBS. Thanks for the super chat. So, Al, anything? What do we got?
Well, just on that, Lindsay had already had some great advice from another Alan. Alan Grout had suggested making sure she's getting some post-race liquids, post-race protein drinks, stuff like that, because the body is craving some recovery.
30 minutes.
As Fletch says, you know, look after yourself with an ice bath and perhaps get the foam roller out, kind of, you know, ease those.
Or be like the Surrey Satellite Club and run to the chippy.
Have fish and chips afterwards. Well. Highly recommended.
We've gone 57 minutes and we haven't mentioned the amazing fish and chip shop. Have they done something wrong?
No, because we're sponsored. It's Manscaped, isn't it? We can't mention other brands. We can't mention other brands, despite them being snaked into the live stream. If you're watching on the pod, I'm pointing to my hat that's got a word written on it. Can anyone pronounce that? But anyway, yeah, no. So we love Amazing Fish and Chip Shop. But we're just not allowed to talk about Amazing Fish and Chip Shop because it's
like Fight Club.
Yeah, we've got so many brands fighting over this podcast because we are the biggest in Malta. We are the biggest podcast in the. And boys, actually, next week I think we need an update on how big the podcast got because it's gone mental, right?
Just you're the man with the figures, mate.
We're global, like global here. Anyway, what else have we got? Because we can't do another hour and 15 minutes like last week.
We've got a couple more, just perhaps another couple more. Crispy Beck wants to know when to add the marathon pace into his long runs. So I'm not sure if that's in terms of
can you give us some more info? What are you training for? Where are you in your plan? You know, we need a little bit more info. Just for me, they go in sort of the second cycle. So that's from about week. Again, this is me, all right. So I'm not telling it too much notice. From about week 6. First couple of weeks of building, then the second rotation of my long run. So my 16, 18, 20, I will be doing the last part at goal pace. And then the third cycle, we'll be doing longer elements of marathon pace. But it's all dependent on you and where you're at. And that's the beauty of a tailored training plan, which you can get on fordyruns.com/coaching. See what I did there, boys? God, I don't care who's sponsoring the podcast. I'll get my own plugs in.
Right. Is that a 16-week plan or an 18-week plan, Chris?
Yeah, mate, you're right, because some people don't know about the difference between their 16 and 18-week plans. Do they, Wilco?
Well, let's hope I don't turn up in Edinburgh a fortnight late, because that might be an issue, mate.
Oh, by the way, I've got to talk to you about that on Tuesday. Just be warned, you're in for a racking from a certain female coach about leaving her in the lurch, but we'll talk about that on Tuesday. Right, now what else have we got?
We'll finish off. We'll leave the last question to Hogan's interval training. think he's been watching on YouTube. He wants to know Alpha Fly or Vaporfly.
What
Nice
would you
easy one.
recommend? Me personally, actually, we'll go around the room. Me personally, because I want to know what Wilco's wearing. Me personally, I'm a huge fan of the Alpha Fly, but only for marathon day. The Vaporfly is too unstable for me as a mile pronator. It doesn't work for me, but obviously a lot of people love the Vaporfly for the over the marathon distance. But I'll give you another bit of advice. People run marathons in all sorts of shoes, so it doesn't have to be one of these super shoes. There's some fast people out there and some slow people out there, and they all finish the run on a different pair of shoes. It doesn't have to have carbon plates in it. My preference is the Alpha Fly. That's mainly because I find that I'm able to maintain a consistent pace in them when I'm working at a medium effort. That's me. What about you, Toe? You're with me, aren't you, on the Alpha Fly?
Yeah, I'm the Alpha Fly on the marathon distance.
Al?
Never been a Nike boy, so I haven't got a comment on that. But I am waiting for a delivery. Controversial. Adidas Pro 2.
Are they white?
No, even more controversial.
What? Stop! Stop! He's lost it. No,
mad.
Yeah.
He's lost
The
it.
the white. I tried. They're outside.
No, are you still pretending to be a vegan as well, or is that stopped?
Look, those donuts were for the kids, not for me.
Fletch,
I ain't got the ankles for Nike stuff. So again, sorry, but Saucony, or I would do a Asics glide ride.
Oh, Fletch, new glide ride 3's on the way. You're going to love that.
Oh,
it's a bit softer. It's a bit softer. Get your money out, boy. Right, and finally, Wilco. Now, surprise us all.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's somewhere from the 80s. And
Well, yeah, if you can't
much.
get, well, you know, Nike Wimbledons, they were pretty good in the 80s. I'd get yourself a pair of them.
Slassinger.
Come on, Wilco. Tell everybody about your marathon show.
My marathon shoe, Brooks Adrenaline 21.
And they were available in 1987, and you can still buy them now at a good rate.
Yeah, I weren't buying them in 1987 though. Classic.
It's classics.
They're not good because they're old. They're old because they're good, you know?
Yeah. We've been there. Classic.
Adidas classic.
What a note to draw stumps. Brilliant. Well, Thanks ever so much for joining us, everybody. Now, this weekend, obviously, there's been some really bad weather today, Friday. So please take care if you're out. Also, some park runs are on in the morning, some aren't. Down our way, Gunpowder and Stevenage have been called off.
Bushes
but
off,
Westman have said that they're going ahead. So keep an eye on Facebook and Twitter and things like that to see whether it's on or not. You don't want to turn up and then it's off. You know, you could have had a nice lie in. But so look out for your dates for your park runs tomorrow. Thanks ever so much, Fletch, coming along. I hope you've had a good time.
I've had a great time. Thanks very much for having me. One thing on that I was saying, probably the boys will back me up, is missing one run won't affect any performance. So have a look at the weather, check it out. Don't put yourself.
I didn't go out today. I mean, I know I'm itching to get back, and I didn't go out today. What's the point? It's going to achieve nothing. So just be careful. Big shout out to Carolyn for breaking her pacer duties. Made love to Carolyn for doing that.
Oh, we didn't wish Al a happy birthday.
Well, the kids all sang him happy birthday yesterday.
Why
did you see that?
Yeah. Well, singing to me.
No, let's not.
No. We've got ratings to think of, mate.
I do want to thank everybody who's commented and got involved with the show tonight. As always, please get your emails into something.com at Gmail thing.
Longrunshow@gmail.com.
Yeah, thank you very much. Continue sharing the Long Run podcast with everybody. Somebody asked me that the other day about how we're marketing. You'll have this. How we are marketing the podcast. I said, are we not? So make sure you tell everyone about it. Make sure you can do reviews. I found that out the other week. I also found out, by the way, I've got to apologise to all the listeners. And I know we've run over, but I found out today that there's like a load of podcast platforms that we weren't on because basically I ain't clicked a load of buttons. So you might have, this could be your first time listening. So apologies that you haven't been listening. It's basically my fault because I didn't read anything. We just rocked up.
Alternatively, if you're on a different format and this is the first time you listen to, the good news is there's another 34 you can dig in.
Well, some of them ain't that good. Be fair, Wilco. Some of them a bit like,
I'd like to think we got a bit better, but you never know.
And If you share it, you can have a free Big Fletch hug. How about
Yeah,
that?
there we go.
Oh.
Comes with a fetch back. There we go. And
There
don't
you go.
forget 20% off Manscaped and free shipping. Use 40 promo code 40. Right, Wilco, take us out.
Thanks very much, everybody, for your company today. Remember, if you can't join us at 7 o'clock on a Friday on YouTube or Facebook, you can get us on. Well, so apparently loads of podcast providers that I didn't know about, but obviously the main ones like Amazon and Spotify and Apple. Goes without saying, we're everywhere. Tell your friends, send us a review, and take care this week with the bad weather. We look forward to seeing you next week, next Friday, when we'll be talking about all sorts of other stuff. Some of it might even be running related. You never know. Thanks ever so much for coming, and we shall see you next week. God bless. Take care.
Toe roll.